G'day there, love. Looking fine, I may say so myself. Today we're talking about how to invest your first $1,000. So I was just talking to my mumsy, having lunch with her. She was like, how often do you work? Great question. And I said, intensely 1 or 2 days a week. It averages out depending on the month and what's going on. I work quite intensely and then I have the rest of the time off to go to the beach and do whatever I like. She was like, it's a pretty good life. You could be working in an office. And there's no shade to people working in an office at all. I understand that this is more or less like the golden ticket. So I don't actually express how incredibly thankful I am to be living this kind of a life, because this is because I really dedicated so much time into learning to crack the code of investing and money making. And the biggest milestone I wanted to reach was understanding how money could end up making me money instead of me working for money. It's like this flip on the equation that just frees you. And I learned how to make passive income. So say I have 11 properties right now, investment properties, and I get the income from that month to month. And so that is a form of my salary. And I wanted to do this video to break down roughly how I would go about investing right now if I had $1,000 and starting from scratch. So I'm taking my mind back into the days of wee little Sorrel, and we're going to talk about that. I know, guys, I am so baller with a giant light. Van lifing does this. All right. First and foremost, I want to talk about my investment strategy that I have right now for myself. It's very different to what I would be doing if I only had my first initial $1,000. Wind, don't be mean. So essentially at the end of every single month now, whenever we get the profits with Leon and I, we sit down and we determine where we want to allocate the funds, and 70% of it goes to property, 15% goes into precious metals like gold and silver, and then another 15% into cryptocurrency. So this might not work for you if you've only got $1,000, because $1,000 isn't going to even get you a deposit for a house. So I'm going to turn it back and not give you this kind of a breakdown. I'm going to give you something else. But first, I do have to touch on 2 very important lessons that you need to know if you're super fresh to investing. Firstly, get interested. Essentially, the best investment that you are able to make is the one that you're interested in, because you're going to do the best in this area. Now, I'm sure you've read and watched a lot of these videos about investing, or maybe this is the first one, so hi. But a lot of them will say, invest in stocks or mutual funds or government bonds or max out your pension funds. All of these things. And a lot of these are valid, and absolutely you should look into some of these. However, also you have to be interested in whatever you want to invest in, because if you're not interested, you are going to more or less almost guaranteed lose money. For me, I'm so interested in property. Since I was a little girl, I was always so intrigued by the idea of being a developer. I don't know why. We grew up with Robert Kiyosaki audio tapes in the car, and I was just very intrigued by this idea that, you have tenants and they pay you money every single month, and you have this asset that's sitting there and also appreciating in value. So this to me has always been my thing. And now as I'm growing up, I'm really interested in community gardens and earthships. So this is something I'm looking into, hopefully developing sustainable communities, which would be just so amazing. Guys, I get to be a female in a male-dominated space and also doing good for the planet. Like, come on. Oh, the dream. Anyway, so this is what I'm saying. You have to be interested in what you're pursuing. So say you love collecting rare books and you know really well what literature might go up in value one day, research that further and find out this information. There is an interest for you that is going to be pulling you, that you just cannot wait to get and study about it, and just fills you with so much energy. And my friend Benjamin, he recently just got into crypto and he is obsessed with crypto. Right now he's just honing in. He cannot sleep. He's so obsessed. This is what you want to find, because you're going to succeed in these areas. Seek good advice. So, second lesson I want to talk to you about is please consider taking really good advice. Now, this lesson comes from one of my favorite books of all time when it comes to finances, and it's The Richest Man in Babylon. Oh, I love this book. And in there is a character called Arkad, and he's learning to invest. And one of the mishaps he has is that he loses all of his initial money that he's invested for the very first time, because he takes the knowledge of investment in rare gemstones from a brickmaker. A brickmaker tells him, this is great investment, you're gonna make your money, it's gonna be great. So he invests so much money and he loses it all. And the lesson from that is that you really need to seek advice from those that specialize in their fields. There are so many people pretending like they know everything about finances, and this is why you will not find me talking about stocks, and I'll make it very clear that I do not talk about stocks because I have no interest in this space at all. So you have to find the right teachers for this. I even remember someone saying that whenever you hear of a really popular stock in, say, Cosmopolitan magazine, you stay the heck away from that stock and you just do not invest in that space, because whenever it hits like the mainstream and you hear just general knowledge from a gossip magazine of where you should be investing, you know it's not the right deal. So you really have to specialize and get information from those that are experts in their field. Don't forget this lesson. If you want advice on bricks, go to the brickmaker. If you want advice on rare gemstones, go to a jeweler. Seek advice from the people that have achieved the type of success that you want in your own life. Let me give you some paths of how I would invest $1,000 if I was starting from scratch, so that you can have this life for yourself too. It's possible. The amount of people sometimes I hear that they say, oh, Sorelle, you shouldn't tell people that it's possible. I was like, so what do you want me to say? Hi guys, most of you will not succeed, so just watch my video. It's like, what? No, I got inspired by people telling me this is possible, and I believed in myself enough to pursue even when I was failing. So of course it's possible. I'm not an exception to the rule. Like, this is possible. Avenue A of how I would begin my investing journey. There are so many rich people that often specify that if they were to lose everything that they have in terms of assets, the one thing that can never be taken away from them is the knowledge that they have. So investing in your education and your brain, expanding your area of interest so that you can always bounce back no matter what hiccups come into your path. The thing is, your investing path is going to be turbulent. This isn't something that's super easy. You are going to come across giant hiccups. So you need to be aware of that and brace yourself for that. And the way you brace yourself is with the knowledge. So if I had $1,000 right now, I would just try to uncover gradually what it is that my interest area lies in. Is it books? Is it literature? Is it photography? Is it videography? Is it stocks? Is it crypto? What is it that makes you come alive, that gives you energy, that you can't stop thinking about it? And if you don't know that step, that's where I would start. And then once you discover that, I would go full steam ahead into learning as much as possible in this field, because $1,000 isn't exactly a lot in the world that we live in order to grow a huge fortune, but it is enough for you to dive super deep into education and uplift yourself on this level. As a young little Sorelle, I went to so many seminars, and I spent my paychecks just going to seminars and buying courses and just learning from the experts in their fields. And I remember going to some of these seminars and the people said, you know, I've spent hundreds of thousands, $200,000 on my education. And I was like, yeah, right, whatever. I sit here comfortably saying this right now at the age of 32. I have spent a carload, an expensive car, maybe a house worth of funds on educating myself to get me closer to my dreams. And it has been worth every single penny, even the courses that I didn't think I got that much. Somehow it all added up to bring me to where I am right now. Avenue B. As I said, this is video coming just from my point of view. I would 100% invest in business because I think this is such a fun way to learn to multiply your income. So figuring out how to learn to make a profit, how to sell, how to ask for money, because business, there is no ceiling to this. Like, there really isn't. And yes, business is hard. Yes, I have had 2 failed businesses before. It happens, but I learned every single time and I implemented the knowledge that I had from those businesses into the next business. So that's not something to be fearful of. Business is the ultimate way to multiply your income. It really is. I can't think of a better way to do it. I mean, you're thinking about, like, let's say Robert Kiyosaki, who's a property investor, right? He invests, but he teaches people how to invest and sells books about investing. And then we have, say, Graham Stephan, who's huge on this platform with finances. He was a real estate agent, first and foremost. However, he has a giant business here on YouTube. Business is the bee's knees. So learning the business skills is the bee's knees. Avenue C, if I was starting with $1,000, I would definitely invest in, say, crypto or precious metals. For the sake of it, let's start with precious metals. I did buy my first 3 silver coins and a silver bar when I was young, because it was like a week's worth of pay, I think, for me, or more, maybe 2 weeks worth of pay. But my friends were buying like the latest fashion and all that stuff, and I was like, yeah, cool story. What are you gonna do with that? That's just gonna go to the landfill after it collapses. Whereas I'm gonna have this bar of silver, probably for my entire life. And it just made me feel really awesome. I don't know how to explain it. So yeah, it was just a nice reminder that I have this money that's going to sit there and it's forever just going to rise and beat inflation. Historically, precious metals beat inflation. That was pretty special to me. So I'd probably consider looking into, say, buying some gold and silver. You can do it at the local precious metal dealer in your area. Quick thing to note, if you are keeping your $1,000 in your bank account, it is getting eaten up by inflation because of the low interest rate. So another place you can look at is BlockFi, which pays you up to 9% in interest for your cash deposits. So there's a link in bio if you want to find out more. And then cryptocurrency. Potentially, I'd look into this. I can't give you any recommendations of where to put the money into. This is an area that I'm still learning about, which is very exciting. There is no history behind crypto, so there is a good chance that this might not last forever. Lots of people watching this just really probably want to punch the screen because they believe so heavily in cryptocurrency. So there are some die-hard fans out there, but trying to find coins that are performing well on the long term might be better instead of trying to jump on board any coins that are the latest fads. But also be prepared to lose the money that you invest in here, because we just don't know. We have no idea. But again, just dipping your fingers a little bit into crypto might be interesting, because you don't know if you're interested in something until you kind of dip in and put a little bit of money into something, because then there is a pain point and there is a desire to potentially learn more. And if you just put the money in and you're like, whatever, I don't care, then you might realize that this isn't for you at all. So actually taking action from all of this, you just have to take action. Because if you don't take action, you will never know what you're interested in and what you want to pursue and what might succeed. Like, business is a little bit like a guessing game. You might have the skills behind you, but you need to take action, execute, in order to figure out what are the things that are going to stick in the market right now and how good you are at marketing. None of this is going to happen if you don't take action. Investing avenue something. Pay off your debt. This doesn't necessarily seem so much as if it is an investment of sorts, but by reducing your debt, you have more money to play with. And if you can untrain yourself to be so debt heavy as we have in society these days, just rely so much on debt, man, you're going to be ahead of the curve by a mile. It is a ball and chain. It is going to drag you down. You need to learn to control your impulses if most of your debt is like credit card based, and not jump onto the credit card bandwagon to pay for everything and you don't have enough money to pay it back. So just something to consider. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope it's not disheartening when you watch these videos and no one tells you exactly like $1,000, you should put $333 into this. It is quite general because $1,000 isn't a huge amount to play with yet, but it can be multiplied through the things that I've expressed above. And really, there is no specific roadmap for money making. It is so personal because it has to incorporate your desires and your needs and your interests, right? So there isn't anyone that's going to be able to tell you exactly how to invest this. It is a bit of a dipping your toes in a lot of different pies game. So with that all being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know where you are with your investing journey, and if this was at all helpful, in the comments down below. Also subscribe and like. We would love to have you here, part of this community. We have an amazing newsletter as well that you have to be subscribed. It's so great. It's got so many great nuggets of wisdom, extra lessons on all things finance and freedom. Link in bio for that. And also don't forget to check out our course down below. It is a private membership with over 3,000 people dedicated to the path of finance and freedom. So if you want to know more and master this game, be surrounded by those epic individuals, you can do so. Link in bio. And I will see you in the next one.